Ladies and gentlemen, the time is nigh. Edinburgh Derby. It's our first one in a while. We've completely forgotten about the last one. So here we go, boys. We're going to Hampden for the third time this season. We got a 1-1 record there. You know, I had to get my Americanism in there straight away. But boys, we look familiar because it is a relatively familiar night. But anyway, Ewan, how are we feeling?
Oh, fantastic, mate. Do you know, if you've not listened to last night's episode, and if you still need to get over the weekend, listen to it. It was therapeutic. We got a lot of our systems, and let's go.
Well, as I say, I don't know what episode you're talking about. That's in the past. It's behind me. Liam, talk to me. How are we feeling, mate? We good?
I'm buzzing, mate. Absolutely buzzing. Edinburgh Derby, semi-final, Hampden. I can just say loads and loads of different things that are going to help convince myself that I am absolutely buzzing. I am ready to go.
So now are you going to do what we managed to do to you as a listener last week for the league game?
Convince you that Hibs are going to win?
Aye.
Of course. Hey. All in good time, young Padawan. All in good time.
Liam, we should have wrote that down because that was poetry on paper if it was. Greg, you know, you're the resident happy clapper. Tell us, how are the vibes, mate?
Yeah, I'm definitely a happy clapper, and I'll be happy clapping my way to Hampden on Saturday.
Hey, well, I've just got an impression of Greg doing a seal all the way there, so I'm dead buzzing for that. Come on, Greg.
No, he does clap like that actually.
I actually don't, Ewan. That's just not on, and don't you start specky. Don't you start encouraging that idiot to try and come for me.
I'm trying to bring the vibes up. Why am I going to go? Anyway, we're moving on. As we say, we're all doing our best to get G'd up and a bit excited. Let's try and get some positive vibes flowing before we go into the team selection. So we'll look back. I think it's fair to say one of our favourite trips. Liam, looking back at the game we had against Rangers, what were the pre-game vibes before that? We hadn't scored in maybe like 40 days. Can you remember how you were feeling before the Rangers game?
No.
Absolutely steaming.
Buckled. I typically like. Any of those words that mean the same as steaming.
I was trying to get the whole. I felt that we didn't really have a chance of winning. I remember I was walking down to the game and I said to Craig, who I always go to the games with, I was like, "Here, mate, I've had a magic day with you, the down the slope boys, everybody that came on the bus. If we go out and get pumped, at least it's a 9 out of 10 day. Turned out to be a 12 out of 10 day when we absolutely packed off the park. But that's what I'm saying. We've got good vibes going into this. You know, Hibs, when they've got their back against the wall, somehow find a way to break the wall and get further back. But every once in a while, they surprise you. And this weekend is going to be a surprise. So, Ewan, we'll come to you first. Team selection. Who are going to be these heroes that will surprise us at the weekend? You know what? We'll mix it up. We'll pick position by position. So you take us through the goalkeeper and the defence.
Well, Macy was back in at the weekend. Probably doesn't justify being dropped. However, I think we've seen in the last month or so, he's not. I think he's played 2 in the spin for a while. So we'll see if he's fit or not. But if he's fit, it'll be Macy. Now, I would go for a back three of Harry Clark, Ryan Porteous, and Lewis Stevenson.
Okay.
And drop Hanlon and Bashiri.
Greg, are you thinking along the same lines?
Yes. Fuck Hanlon. Get him out. He doesn't deserve to play.
Positivity last a minute.
Does not deserve to play. Would agree with Clark, Porteous, and Stevenson. Gives you a bit of aggression in there as well. So
I don't, just to add on it as well, I'll let Liam come in as well, sorry, but Hearts, now Sims and Boyce are physical, but they do play a lot of the ball on the ground. So I think you can get away with Porteous being the aggressor, and we've seen Clark can handle himself as well, and Stevenson's more than capable against a sort of technical player. So I don't think there'd be any issues from purely a physical standpoint with that either.
Yeah, well, Liam, I know you hate it when we're a bit semi on the podcast, but I'll put in my 2 cents. I'm liking that back line as well. What are you thinking, Liam?
Porteous, McGregor, and Hanlon. A wee throwback to another era with McGregor and Hanlon at centre back. So that if we lose, and there's small chance that we actually lose the game, everyone can say, oh my God, we were never going to win a cup semi-final with McGregor and Hanlon playing together, and they played together in 2016. Because everyone fucking loves that patter. So I'll go Porteous, McGregor and Hanlon.
All right, well, so far, Liam, you're bottom in contention of being the manager ahead of the weekend, so that's good to know. All right, so let's go forward into the midfield. Greg, you've given us the back. Would you put Big Kev back in goals, or would you stick with Macy?
I would put Big Kev back in goals, aye.
Right, talk us through your
Definitely.
midfield. We want wing backs and the centre of the middle. Centre of the park, sorry.
Wing backs, they pick themselves, Cadden, if he doesn't want to be lazy this week. And Doig on the left. In the middle of the park, I'd have Doyle, Hayes and Newell. And I'd possibly put Henderson in there as well, playing slightly more advanced to them.
All right, Liam, you seem to be have taken us off track a bit, but I've noticed you've got one central midfielder I might expect to come in. So who's your wing backs and centre mid's going to be?
I'm going to have Harry Clark, right wing back. And the left wing back, I'm going to go with Josh Doig. And then in the centre midfield, I'm going to pick a three of Chris Cadden, Lewis Stevenson, and Joe Newell.
Wait, run me through that again.
Is this boy shaking his head at me and then deciding Chris Cadden's playing centre mid?
Aye.
Did Chris Cadden not play
Mate.
centre midfield against Hearts in a 0-0 game at Tiny?
He did
That in
aye.
September.
And I've just got visions of Chris Cadden centre midfield actually closing people down. So that him and Stevenson are getting in the team on the basis that they actually can run.
So what was that,
Close
Liam?
people
Sorry,
down.
Clark, Cadden, Stevenson, Newell, Doig.
No, Harry Clark at right wing back.
Aye.
Lewis Stevenson, Joe Newell, and Josh Doig.
Josh Doig. Right.
No, I'll be honest. I was a bit
His legs.
suspect at first, but I like it. I like it. Ewan, you've got to stick with the same defenders you went with. Who
Yeah.
are you similar to Greg?
No, I can't remember. I was too busy doing the thumbnail for this episode. I'm going to be controversial here. Chris Cadden's bang out of form. Tell me when he last had a good game.
Dundee United.
I think he was good against. Do you think he was to his usual standards against Dundee United?
I don't think it was
No,
great.
because
Maloney's
Maloney's
not
not
done
done
it.
at centre half.
He's not done anything that deserves warrants being dropped. Chris Cadden, I'm sorry,
I'm
but he's not
going-
even close. He's not even he's the least of our problems now.
I'm going
Fuck me.
Chris Cadden right wing back. I was just curious, but no, Chris Cadden right wing back. He's only option there, especially if Harry Clark's playing in the back three that I've picked. My central midfield would be Jake Doyle, Hayes, Joe Newell, and Dre Wright just in front of them. Left wing back, Josh Doig.
Okay.
If Dre Wright's available, I would get him into the middle of the park.
No, this is changed into a new game.
My team was picked on the basis that Dre Wright was not fit after going off at the weekend.
If Dre Wright's not fit, then I would play Josh Campbell.
Right, that's enough for him. Right, Harry,
All
can we
right,
just
all
cut
right,
him out the rest of
guys,
this?
Ian,
We've got
Harry,
some-
go and kick him out, by the way, and tell him to
sorry,
come back.
I don't know how many times.
Sorry.
I don't know how many times we have to speak about Josh Campbell this season. We say he plays his best football in
Oh.
games when he's in the middle of the park, hounding players.
Harry,
And
Right, guys,
Harry,
can
mute
you
him.
guys get this like
mute him.
I'm hearing this
Get
like
it out.
weird buzzing sound that doesn't really make sense. If any of the listeners can hear that at home, I don't know what happened there, but we're going to forget that happened. That was in the past with the game last week, so we'll forget about that and we'll move forward. All right, Ewan, thank you for taking that back. We'll let you back in the room now. You've calmed down. Goodness. All right, so what we're doing is I'm liking the team so far, but at the end, I'll come up with a rating for each team, and then I'll be the overall manager because why not? Anyway, so Liam, finish us off. Talk us through your whole team so far, and then finish it off with who your strike force is going to be.
Right, so my goalie is Kevin Dubrovsky. Right centre back, Porteous. McGregor in the middle of the three. Hanlon left centre back. Right wing back, Harry Clark, because he's our best attacking outlet. Chris Cadden, Joe Newell, and Lewis Stevenson in the middle. Josh Doig left wing back. My two forwards are going to be Christian Doig, on the premise that he's fit, and Elias Hoff-Melkerson.
Okay. See, you had me, and then you said Christian Doig, and then I felt a little burst.
yes, because Christian Doig is a worse shout than fucking Darren McGregor.
Well, Darren McGregor's handsome at least. Well, not to be fair, Dodge is handsome as well, to be fair.
I was like, come on.
But Darren McGregor's the man, eh? Anyway, you can talk us through your team from start to finish.
I didn't really commit to the goalkeeper because I went with what I thought. My team would be Dabrowski, Clark, Porteous, Stevenson, right to left, obviously there. Right wing back Cadden, left wing back Josh Doig, centre midfield three Josh Campbell, Jake Doyle Hayes, and Joe Newell, Christian Doidge, and Melkerson up front.
Just for the sake of sanity, can we please put in Trey Wright over Josh Campbell?
Yeah, sorry, Trey Wright. If Trey Wright's fit, sorry, yeah, sorry, yeah, no, yeah. If Trey Wright's fit, Trey Wright plays. Yeah, if Trey Wright's fit, then Trey Wright. With Jasper, Melkerson, Scott Allen, and Muller on the bench. Is that right?
What are you trying? I didn't ask for a bench.
No, I'm just saying that would be my changes.
He's watching you.
Liam's literally melted off the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Greg, the air and everything. Greg, talk us through your team from back to start.
I'm just intrigued to see who's carrying the balls and the cones out for Hibs on Saturday because Ewan's named everyone else. Who's making the peaches on the bus? Who's bringing the cards? My team would be Dabrowski, Clark, Porteous, Stevenson in a back three, Cadden, Doyle Hayes, Newell and Doig. I'd have Henderson in behind the strikers, and the two strikers are Melkerson and Muller. And if you want a bench and who's printing the numbers and whatever's happening, then let me know and I'll come up with them.
If Dre Wright was fit, would he get back in the team after his performance at the weekend, or would you rather have Henderson in there instead?
Dre Wright would get in the team.
So we're the same out with the striker then.
Ahead of Henderson. But I would probably also, if Dre Wright was fit, I would, to be honest, I'd probably bring Henderson in for Muller.
Yes,
and play more of a front three in terms of Wright, Melkerson, and then Henderson on the left side.
What's your team, Specky?
I think, being realistic, I genuinely think you've all picked good teams there. I think the most realistic one would probably be along the lines of Greg. I think that, yeah, the only thing is I don't see Hanlon being dropped. Let's okay. We've done that.
The back three we picked. None of these back threes are the back. Yeah, the back three will be
except the 9.
Right. So we've picked our ones. I reckon I'll give you all an 8 and all 8 out of 10 all around. Let's go for the team that Maloney will pick. I reckon we've got Macy in goals.
Yep.
I reckon we've got a back three of Hanlon, Porteous, Rocky.
Yeah, 100%.
I think we've got left back. I think we'll have Doig. I think right back Harry Clark. I think the centre of the park will have Doyle Hayes and Newell. Mm-hmm. And then I think you've got a front three of Muller, Melkerson, and Cadden. I think you'll push Cadden
with Melkerson. Do you know, Harry? I actually don't think none of us have mentioned it. See, with Porteous being back, could they go to a flat four with just Doig, Hanlon, Porteous, Clark?
Maloney's not going to a back four, I don't think.
He's been a couple of times.
That during games, he's not started the game with a back four, has he?
Nah, it's been in-game changes that we've gone to a back four.
I don't see him starting
I
with a back four.
I don't think it's completely out of the realms of possibility. I still think it's probably still more likely than the team I just named. Like,
you know, actually, I would. I actually think I'd rather see a flat four of Clark, Porteous, Hanlon, Doig, with Doyle, Hayes, and Campbell. Campbell, fucking shut up. Doyle, Hayes, and Newell as a 4-2-3-1. On the right, Cadden. In the middle, right. On the left, Jasper. And then Melkerson, maybe. I don't. That might happen. Actually, I'm not sure. I think he might. I've just convinced myself we might see a flat back four.
You know what? Like, I think one positive. I'm trying to get as many positive vibes in here as possible, because obviously, if you listen to our last episode, you are thoroughly depressed right now. Well, let's get up a bit. So I do think that realistically, Maloney's got options. They might not be the strongest options in the world, but he has got. There is versatility enough in this squad that he can change it drastically from last week and have a relatively different outlook on the game which I think is desperately needed based off the second half. However, boys, it's coming to crunch time. We've picked our team. We've picked some quality players out there. Ewan, you're going to give me a great answer. What's the score going to be at the weekend?
Already?
Aye.
2-0 Hibs.
And who's netting the goals?
2 own goals.
Ryan Porteous,
Nice.
who will then miss the final due to suspension or something. And Chris Miller. Even though I was calling him a Mickey Mouse shagging weirdo at the weekend, for some reason I think he's going to score this weekend.
I don't know what Mickey Mouse has got to do with anything. You probably should have picked an owl, maybe. But moving on. Liam, what about yourself? I know you don't like giving score predictions, but can you insinuate if you think it's going to be full time or extra time if you don't give a score prediction?
It's going to be 2-1 Hibs. And Ryan Porteous is going to score because I predicted Ryan Porteous to score 15 times a season and it's yet to happen. And a broken clock is right twice a day, which maybe actually broken clock's right twice a day maybe should be the name of our podcast, actually. And we're going to see a goal from Darren McGregor, because Darren McGregor's going to be starting.
Well, I had a great gag lined up about how if Porteous scored every time we predicted him to score on this podcast, he'd be the top scorer in Hibs history. But you took my line, Liam. G, what do you think the score is going to be?
1-0. After the extra time.
Who?
Did I ask who wins?
I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to leave it there.
Goal scorer gives a name, doesn't say if it's an own goal or an actual goal.
There will be a goal scorer from either Hibs or Hearts.
Fair enough. You know what's going to happen? James Scott, 121st minute.
Shut up, Harry. 1-0 Hibs after the extra time, and Melkerson.
He's not playing. Is he not starting then? Because if that goes to extra time, he's hooked. He's not got 120 minutes.
I'll hook you now if there's any more of your shite. This is my
Well, boys.
Harry, get him in the book, man.
But he got booked earlier, didn't he worry? He's close. He's on a final warning, didn't you worry? But lads, I'm going to, obviously, I said on last week and I'll say it again, I will die before I predict Hearts to beat Hibs. So I'm going to go for a cheeky beat. Oh, but you know what? I'm going to make the skin crawl. We're going to beat them on penalties. 0-0. And then it's going to be 0-0 until sudden death. And Kevin Dabrowski is going to score the winning penalty to make it 1-0. And he's got to save Craig Gordon straight after because Craig Gordon's an absolute gimp. But I don't want it to be too short an episode. So I do want to touch on, I asked Greg beforehand if he would mind me asking this question. He said, absolutely not, read the room, Harry. But I'm going to ask it anyway. We're going to talk about some of our favourite memories against Hearts. We've obviously not got many fond Hampden memories against Hearts, but we have got some good ones along the years. I'll start off with a cheeky wee 1-0 Jason Cummings at home at Easter Road. I thought that was an absolute cracker. That was just a good game of football, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable celebration. Yeah. Ewan, what about yourself? Just a random good memory against Hearts that springs to mind.
Good memory. Jason Cummings' celebration in the 3-1 game.
Solid.
Just a nice wee get it up, yeah. Subtle.
But effective. Very effective. And Liam, we'll come to you next. Good memory against Hearts.
I'm going to say the 1-0 at Easter Road after the 2-0 down at Tiny game.
Fair.
Underlooked as, or overlooked if you like, as a pivotal game on the way to winning the Scottish Cup. Because we, to be honest, like we won 1-0, but we're in cruise control for 88 minutes.
James Keaton's worst miss I've ever seen?
Probably. Some bad gins, but that's bad. We've seen
James
some bad ones
Keaton's
this season.
Melkerson.
Probably
Guys,
Probably Keaton's. Nah. Like that was that was just the most like cigars out comfortable game. We were a championship club then as well.
Was that the game they scored 2 offside goals?
Yes.
That was brilliant. That was funny as man. They were going absolutely daft. I was like, right. G, we'll bounce it to you. Good memory against Hearts. Make us smile.
Darren McCormack. Peter and Palazuelos. What a moment.
Oh.
That was about as good as we got that season against them. To be honest, I'd have to say Grant Holt against Hertz, because what a boy, yeah. Or even Simon Murray putting the ball through the best centre half in the world's legs and then sticking it roof of the net. Either of those would be right up there. But then Scott Allen as well. And then Joe McLaren, Billy and Naismith. Take your pick out them.
That was just such an enjoyable period, wasn't it? That post cup buzz, like it really did just. You were like a good couple of years of just generally being on a high as being a Hibs fan, like, and it wasn't all.
Was that under Lennon?
Oh, yeah.
And then, boys, one more question, and then we'll wrap up. Let's do the exact same, but for happy Hampden memories instead. I've already mentioned the game against Rangers, so we'll do another one. And you can, if one of you wants to take the cup final back in 2016, I'll give you that this one time.
That's lazy. I'd have to say Boyle's penalty against Rangers to go 3-0 up, because nobody expected us to even compete in that game. And we were 3-0 up.
Yeah. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know a really happy memory I have at Hampden? See when we equalised 2-2 against Aberdeen when we were holding it. I was convinced we were going on to win it again. Yeah. And I know the game didn't end the way it was, but you're talking about a happy moment when McGeoch scored that goal and then pulled up. But I was like, what's it? Nobody likes losing, but I felt like you looked at the team that day. They got beat by a shitty wee deflection. They put up a fucking fight for 2-0 down. They put up a good defence of the cup, and there was a real moment where I thought we were going to go back-to-back finals there, and maybe even kick on, and you never know, win it again. So when McGeoch scored, that was a really good feeling. That.
You can. What's underrated about that game? Imagine the scenes if Marciano had scored that header in that stoppage time. I only would have got us extra time, but that would have been.
Mind Fontaine's Bicey in the League Cup final when they just scored. I know that was another one.
Don't mention that game. That was one of the saddest I've been after a Hibs game. Hey, Liam, lift it up, make us happy. Come on.
I could avoiding going to the cliched answers. There's two games that stick out for me, and they're relatively earlier on in my life. One was the 3-0 semi-final against Livingston. I think you boys probably just been a bit too young to go there, but
I was there.
Greg was there. Greg would have been too young, obviously.
I was there. I was there as well. Can't remember it, but I was there.
Nah, so we heard you the first time. Stop trying to be like me and Liam. Experienced Hibs fans.
We were just very good that day. John O'Neill in particular. When he got the third to essentially kind of kill the game off. It was very enjoyable from that point onwards. And to be honest, we were streets ahead of Livingston that day. Probably flattered them, if I'm being honest. But then another one for me again. Another great day at Hampden, a 5-1 win against Kilmarnock. Long in the memory, and for all the right reasons, the Scottish Cup win will always be top, but that will always be second for me, because I just think first trophy, seeing your club win, and the legacy of not having won anything for quite a long time as well, and the weight of pressure, and actually being honest, that was a playing squad that really did, like, the players that were in that squad deserved to win something for their time at Hibs. They were very good players. It was a very good squad. It was a very good time to be a fan.
Yeah.
For those couple of years, if you want to say that. So that was a class day. If we had some players in the squad on Saturday who could produce the kind of performance that Fletcher, Benjolo, and Stevenson and others produced on that day, we would be doing just fine.
The third man run for Scott Brown, or it was Scott Brown, wasn't it? Did they put it just never been seen since.
No.
Right, just go along. We'll make something a bit picturesque here. I love it when you're watching a boxing match or an MMA fight, and then the underdog absolutely surprises everybody, and he just starts battering them round by round. At the end of each round, you're like, "Oh my god, what is going on? How is this guy pulling it off?" And that was the exact same as when Conrad Logan stepped into that semi-final. And he just pulled off save after save against Dundee United. And then come the penalty shootout, he was absolutely heroic. Like, I genuinely think Conrad Logan might be my favourite Hibs player of all time just for that one day. It was unbelievably. I don't think have we ever seen a debut like that? Who at the weekend do you reckon could put themselves on that much of legend status just by a wonder performance out of nowhere?
Melkerson. He's not really produced anything since Motherwell, but like centre forwards generally are the guys that in those big games, those are the guys you look to who are in the positions where they can have those moments of magic, and he's certainly got the ability to do it. He would be the one I would probably look to as potentially being the one who could be the guy. Think back to that quarter final, we all just thought from that point onwards it was going to be plain sailing with him in the team, and it's not quite worked out the last few weeks, but the ability is definitely that and no doubt about it.
Out with Melkerson, for me, Hannah Clark looks a huge goal threat. Whether that's coming from deep and open play or also from set plays as well. I think Harry Clark's got a good chance to. I know I've had him lining up in sort of right back or right of a free, but Maloney seems to want to get him into wing back, whether that be on the left or not. I think he's going to have a really good opportunity to really influence the game at the end of the day. Played a crucial part in the goal at the weekend as well with a really good pass through. So Harry Clark for me.
And G, who could be your Hampden hero?
Anyone who can defend properly, to be honest. I think Josh Doig, though. I think if we play him in sort of left wing, left mid, he can be a real threat. He seems to have come alive under Maloney again. And he has a threat. He can carry the ball forward. He can definitely be a threat down the left. So I think he could well be the Hampden hero.
Do we get the best out of Josh Doig at left back? Like not left wing back, not left.
No.
Is he at his best in a 4?
No.
No.
I think he's better further forward than that, to be honest.
Like on the left of the 5.
I find that when he doesn't have to focus so much on defending, he's a little bit freer to go down the line, and actually that's where he produces the best sort of football and he becomes the biggest threat.
I was just
I was just going to say, my high-B hero, I love a good storyline, and I love it to come out of nowhere. So I said to Mr. Runar Hauga, imagine that. Imagine he came on with about 15 minutes to go and he just skinned about 4 players and smacked in the back of the net. That'd be
tried another fucking bicey.
Oh, mate, some boy. That'd be the dream.
You would love to see his cell, He's just the most enthusiastic Hibs player ever. He's got to be one of those guys. Ken those tweets that they go viral where someone's described the player like loads and loads of enthusiasm but very little talent. Like he's going to be one of those guys that Hibs fans in years are going to be replying saying Runar Hauga. Kind of like Davidas Machulovic always gets brought up all the time. Every time someone's like or Thierry Gattuso, Runar Hauga is 2022's Davidas Machulovic.
Aye. That's a good
Big
point.
Dave, as Lennon
Big
called
Dave.
him.
Just Big Dave.
But he is actually going to be a high-B hero at the weekend. Hampden hero, high-B hero, who gives a hee-haw. But boys, we've went through our team lineup, we've went through our predictions, but we've not talked about. We know we've won it. We're going to pump them. We're going to bat them off the pitch. When you get to the pub afterwards, you get back to Edinburgh, you get to probably going to go kitties. What pint are you going to order to toast and celebrate us pumping the Jambos at Hampden for the first time?
Pint. Oh.
Guinness.
Aye.
Well, wee shamrock on top.
Oh,
it's the small touches, G.
It is, and I appreciate when the shamrock is on top. Almost feel bad drinking it, and then you have to drink it quickly to get yourself another one. So, pint of Guinness, and if anyone says differently, then they're not my friend.
Well, if it didn't necessarily be a pint, if you want to mix it up.
No, it has to be a pint of Guinness, Harry. That's the rules.
To be honest, you've got me my taste for Jaeger bombs back. I've not had a Jaeger bomb in quite some time.
That's because
I remembered how good they are.
I'm an absolute fiend. I'm a fucking fiend for the Jaeger bomb.
I'll have a Guinness, but with a side order of a Jaeger bomb. I think it'll be my order.
Jaeger bombs are definitely my weak spot. Mind in London, Greg, the fucking woke up the day after woke up the day after the Scotland England game, and the bank, when you get that text like, was this Chad's actually you? Was this? So it was on the phone, and it was just like £100 in this bar, £100. And Greg, me and Greg are sharing a room, and he's just looking at me, and I'm just on the phone at the bank going, yes,
Oh my God.
yes. Yes, and it was about 250 quid just on fucking Jaeger bombs in the bar that we were watching the fucking Scotland England game in.
Yeah.
Honestly, Ewan's card must have been absolutely trying to run away from that night. That's how bad it was.
Well, boys, we've descended into absolute chaos in Tangent FC. So I'm going to add another one. I was only 17 when I first went to university, and I didn't really have that kind of drinking bite as much as others did by the time they left high school. And we were driving to uni. Mum drove me up, and then all my stuff packed. Went for a shopping, and she was like, "Son, any alcohol you want, I'll buy you whatever you want. Like, do you want a crate of beer? Do you want cider? What you fancy?" I was like, "I just get me a bottle of Jaeger." So first night I was at uni, everybody was like drinking their tinnies and their bottles of Koppenberg or whatever. I'm just sitting there taking shot after shot of Jaeger, and I was absolutely gone. Like,
starting strong, mate.
Aye, that was my Jaeger story that nobody needed to hear and nobody cared about.
Do you know? I think for the travel through, I might make up a bottle of Jaeger bomb. That'll get us going early doors. Get the caffeine in.
Just to say to the police officer, for legal reasons, he is entirely joking about that. And that
I'll be drunk before they get on the bus. I'll be waiting in Livy. That's what I'm saying. I'll be consumed beforehand.
Oh, okay, good. But yes, we've covered all the bases we wanted to cover. So we'll be speaking to you next week. We'll all be in great spirits because we've got these 5. We're picking up 15 points in the split. We're going to go into the cup final and we're going to pump them as well. Glory to the Hibs on the cabbage.
On the Hibs.